What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I was scrolling through Reddit the other day and I saw a post that really hit home for me personally. Because I've been saying this time and time again in all my other previous videos, but it blows my mind away that the COD community can still consistently have this viewpoint on how current day Call of Duty is compared to what it was in the past. But, of course, before we go ahead and dive deep, if you guys do enjoy today's video, don't forget to go ahead and subscribe and hit that bell. We post daily here at 8 in the morning Eastern Time. And don't forget, we will be streaming today as well over on Kick. You can find a link to that down in the description of this video. But let's get right into the topic. So, I was scrolling through Reddit, and I saw a post by a pretty interesting name here. Reddit is dog. Well, you can see the rest. Great post, though. Great post. It says, why the hell do people think this is what COD used to be like? I'm not hating. I thoroughly enjoyed the beta despite the awful hit detection and the pathetic sounding guns, and I'll be playing when the game is live. My question is why there is a large amount of people, especially on the subreddit, who are either blinded by nostalgia or are simply mindless parrots claiming that this is what COD used to be like in terms of movement. Have I been playing other CODs or something? Modern Warfare 2 2009 had clunky movement. It took a decade to mantle. No dolphin diving. If anything, Modern Warfare 2 2022 has been more faithful to the movement of previous CODs. Nobody cares about jetpack era COD, so they're not involved in this discussion. I would say not everybody doesn't care, but still, let's move on. I just want someone to change my mind because I'm either losing it or being gaslit by posts here, or there was something to the old games that I haven't noticed. Reddit is, dog water. That's what I'm going to call you. You're not losing your mind at all. It's a common problem that I see all the time within the Call of Duty community, and I'm probably not going to end up discussing this ever again. I'm going to cram it all into one video, and I'm going to leave it at that. Maybe in the future, a year down the road, if people keep saying the same thing with Treyarch's next game, I might have to put up a post, but I can't keep mentioning it because the more I mention it, the more I feel insane that people just continuously have this viewpoint, once again, on what current day COD is compared to what it used to be back in the day. But for the love of God, this game plays nothing like a classic Call of Duty game. None of these games do. Black Ops Cold War doesn't. Vanguard doesn't. Modern Warfare 2019 doesn't. And I guarantee that all the Call of Duties coming up in the future will never feel like a traditional COD title. Remember back to World War II when they actually tried to give us traditional movement and the whole community absolutely shit themselves over the fact that you couldn't constantly sprint? Do you really think that we're going to go back to what the OG CODs felt like? No, it's not happening. And the comparison has to come to an end at some point in time. Once again, it makes it extraordinarily hard to take a lot of opinions that I see online seriously when it comes to dissecting certain games, map design, movement, time to kill. A lot of these things, the second that I see someone try to compare it to an OG classic COD game, I automatically just, I can't comprehend it anymore. I seriously can't comprehend it because it isn't logical. The maps nowadays, let's start off with the maps. The amount of times that I hear that the maps are atrocious in current day COD, which I do agree to a certain extent. I would say Modern Warfare 2019 across the board, I didn't like many of the maps at all besides the DLC. Black Ops Cold War, honestly, not too many bad maps. Yeah, I had a select few that were bad, but not all of them were bad, but those maps got absolutely bashed. Vanguard had a pretty decent selection. Not outstanding maps, not like, maps I want to see remastered in the future, but were they bad? No, but those maps got absolutely crapped on. Modern Warfare 2, honestly, I enjoyed the Modern Warfare 2 maps. I say it all the time. I get bashed on all the time for saying this, but people still are claiming they're way too big to be Call of Duty maps. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, what size is considered a Call of Duty map then? What size are we talking about? Because when I played back in the day, the maps were freaking huge. Yeah, we had a fair share of small maps, but the small maps didn't even pop up in the rotation. I can't even count the amount of times I played Rust in a public lobby on one single hand. It never happened. The only time Rust even popped up is if we went into a private match to do a 1v1. The mass majority of maps in Call of Duty have always been medium to large scale. It just is what it is. And I can understand if you don't like the design of the maps, the design themselves, that's understandable. But to say that these maps are way too large when they are clear as day not any larger than what we have like here in your gameplay, Modern Warfare 2 2009, it confuses me. And the funniest thing about it is that people are already complaining about the maps in Modern Warfare 3 right now, even though they're all remasters. Everybody's saying Favela is, too obnoxious with the rooftops, a little too large, Estate is way too big. Again, these were maps that we played back in the day. What happens when Subbase drops? What happens when Wasteland drops? What happens when Invasion comes out? I'm telling you, Scrapyard, High Rise, Terminal, Rust. That's like the handful of maps that people are going to hype up in Modern Warfare 3. But I am willing to put money on the fact that people will complain about the mass majority of maps in Modern Warfare 3 here, the remasters of Modern Warfare 2 2009, because of the fact that everybody has this weird viewpoint where everything back in the day was apparently the size of something like Firing Range, or like, something the size of High Rise, or something of the, of the size of Rust or Shipment. Those were called. No. COD maps used to always have a ton of variety in them. Hence why I love what we got here. I love all of the Modern Warfare 2 2009 maps, but I cannot wait to see the rest of them release and see how people react, because I don't think people are going to be too pleased. And again, it makes me wonder if these people who are claiming that the maps are too large actually played the games back in the day. Same thing when it comes down to the movement. I see tons of people, including in this Reddit post of, like I said, Reddit is dog water, claiming it as well, that he sees this all the time, that people are claiming that this movement is traditional in Modern Warfare 3. It's nowhere close to being traditional. People, you couldn't even sprint nonstop back in the day. You had to put on a perk to do so. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't even dolphin dive in the majority of the OG games. It came out in Black Ops 1, and they barely even put it in the future games afterwards. Like, slide canceling was never a thing. B-hopping, maybe in the Prime games, like, Call of Duty 4, the OGs, COD 1, maybe through COD 3. I don't know if you could do it in COD 3, but I know for COD 1 and COD 2, yeah. But let's hyper-focus on the hype phase of COD. The phase that everybody always points towards when they think of when Call of Duty blew up. Let's think of games like Black Ops 2, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3. Maybe I'll even throw in Black Ops 1. When you B-hop, you could do it 1 to 2 times, and you lose all momentum. I don't know where everybody thinks that, you can chain stuff like this and chain movements back in the day, but you couldn't. And again, we can respect the direction Call of Duty is heading towards. That's what we all have to end up doing. We have to respect that Call of Duty is changing and that this isn't traditional. Because when you compare and you start saying stuff like, oh, the movement, this is really, this feels absolutely great. This is OG right here. This is like Black Ops 2. Then it just sounds absolutely insane. Because it wasn't. Those games were massively, drastically different. Also, the time to kill. The time to kill is also a really good one that I always hear as well. That the time to kill is way too fast in current Infinity War titles. Which, yes, the time to kill has been pretty dang quick. But people are claiming like no tomorrow that the time to kill was ridiculously long in OG COD games. And that something like this in Modern Warfare 3 is identical to what we played back in the day in OG COD. Again, I don't know if I was playing Call of Duty at this point. I don't know. Am I out of touch, people? Am I out of touch? Because, again, back in the day when I played, there was a UMP in Modern Warfare 2 2009 that could two-shot you across the map with a freaking suppressor on it. That MP40 in World at War could do the same exact thing if you have stopping power on that thing. Call of Duty 4, there was an M16 that one-burst you, basically. You couldn't even react by the time your screen was red and you were dead. All I remember from all these Call of Duty games was ridiculously fast time to kill. Dying in milliseconds. And again, we fast forward to current day, and everybody's claiming that these games feel like we're playing hardcore all the time. I mean, it's no different. It's absolutely no different. And again, we can respect the direction that Call of Duty is heading. We can respect that they want to increase the health to, because it's a good change. It makes the game more fast-paced. Because as, for a franchise that's been going on for 20 years, yeah, it has to evolve. It has to change eventually to, make things better, make it more interesting. I'm all for it. But again, the comparison is what's insane. Comparing it, saying that something like this is what we had back in the day, and the fast time to kill that we have current date as well is nothing like what we had back in the day. Extraordinarily bold claims. And again, I wonder if some of these individuals who say this stuff even played the games back in the day. I guess the whole purpose of this video was to, once again, just lay out all this information and try to set things straight here and hopefully make sure our mindsets are wired to the fact that we are playing a different game now. Okay? We are not getting OG COD anymore. OG COD is long gone. maybe sometime in the future if they decide to remaster one of those games, or if they decide to go ahead and, I don't know, make something that does feel OG one of these days, maybe it'll happen. But for the foreseeable future, I can't even imagine. It's one of the main reasons why I think they didn't drop the Model Warfare 2 multiplayer, remastered. Probably not going to drop Model Warfare 3 multiplayer remastered. I can't imagine them even bothering with a lot of that stuff because it's harsh. It's harsh. It really is. The amount of people who are shocked with how slow Modern Warfare, remastered is kind of blows my mind because COD 4 was pretty slow back in the day. But again, people want the nonstop, fast-paced action, sprinting nonstop, being able to do crazy movement. That's what people want. And we have to understand that that's what Call of Duty is evolving to. And yeah, we can find a good middle ground. We really can, to where, people who don't want to deal with all that crap can still play the game, while people who do want that skill gap can play it as well. But the whole purpose of this video was to just state the fact that OG CODs are definitely not what we're playing right here. And some of these comparisons are, as I said before, extraordinarily bold. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget, leave a like. If you hated it, leave a dislike. Also, subscribe, hit that bell if you want to be notified on all recent uploads. We post here daily at 8 in the morning Eastern Time. And last but not least, as I always say, we will be streaming today over on Kick. So if you guys want to check that out, the stream will be live around 12:30 to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. I have a link to that as well as all my other socials down in the description of this video. But as always, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.